What is up, homies? My name is Felix, and today in this video I will be bringing you guys yet another LMMS video. This one I was actually debating on even doing or not because I don't really listen to a lot of like UK drill music, but I've been getting a lot of requests for it, so I figured I'd do it. And basically this beat that I'm going to make today is kind of based off of War by Drake and also by a couple of Pop Smoke songs, but bear in mind, that this is not the main genre of music that I usually create, but it's always good to try something new. So yeah, today I'll be giving UK drill beats a whirl. So yeah, anyways, before this video gets started, you guys should totally check out my Instagram and my SoundCloud. They'll both be in the description below, along with the playlist of songs I've produced on all platforms. There's some really good songs in there if you guys are interested. And yeah, now let's get into this video. So the first thing that I'm going to work on is the drums for sure, because the UK drill kind of sound is very drum based. So I'm going to go through and pick some sounds that I like and that I think will sound good. Okay, so here I have picked out a couple different sounds that I like. This kick, it sounds like this. I think that'll sound good when I turn it up all the way. And then I have the Spins 808, just a classic. And then I have this hi-hat, which is a very light hi-hat, which is what you want to go for when you're making these UK drill beats. The hi-hats, you don't want to be too, loud and harsh sounding, And then also for the snare, I'm going to combine this little rim shot and this snare, which also kind of sounds like a rim shot. And I'm going to combine those, and I think that'll sound good. And this is a open hi-hat, super standard. And then I also have this. And I'm not sure if I'll use that or not, but I just have it there just in case. Yeah, now that I have that, I'm going to go and pick a plugin. And I think for this, I'll probably either use Creepy Piano or I'll use Redtron or maybe both. Okay, so for this one, I brought in Creepy Piano and I brought in Sonatino Orchestra. And I'm not sure if I'll use both of these or if maybe I'll add Redtron too. But for now, I just have these two. But yeah, as I said, I'm going to start with the drums first. So we can get rid of this, and we can get rid of this, and we can get rid of this. So yeah, now I'm going to start with the drums, and I'm going to extend this out. 1, 2, 3. And what we can do here is place the snare where we normally place it. Oh yeah, and also don't change the tempo at all unless you want to change it like a little bit higher, but usually these beats are around like 140 BPM, so I'm going to keep it right at 140. Now what I'm going to do is, we have the snare here, which is pretty standard thing to do. Now I'm going to add the kicks, because the kick pattern is usually what is going to differentiate these UK drill beats from other regular trap beats. So with a regular trap beat, you do something like this maybe. And with a UK drill beat, you do something like this. And as you can hear, it has a totally different bounce, but yeah, that's kind of what we're going for here today. So yeah, I'm going to do a little pattern like that and see what I can come up with. Alright, so here I have the kick pattern. It looks like this, and I added these little snares in here too. I might change this around as I go, but for now it looks like this. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do Control A and then turn all these up as much as I can, which is like 197. And now I'm going to go in here and just do this right now, get it out of the way, add effect, put a hard limiter on it, and then set the decibel limit to under 0. And we want that kick to be hitting pretty hard, so that's good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and do the hi-hats. And the hi-hats, what we're going to do is make a lot of little rolls, and we're going to make a lot of panning and, velocity changes and stuff like that. Okay, so here I have kind of the start of the hi-hat pattern. Obviously, I'm going to change things as I see fit. But for right now, I have these little triple rolls marking where I want to make, actual rolls. And I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to go to 132 and then zoom it in and move this over. And what I think I'm going to do is actually bring this down. And we're going to bring the velocity down as well, and then go like this, like a little staircase. And then I'm going to add a couple more of these lower down notes. And now I'm going to add another roll here. But this one I'm going to go higher up actually. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the other one. Okay, so basically I just added a couple more rolls and then these two at the bottom. But what I'm going to do with these is go to the panning. So I'm just going to click on velocity. And then this one is going to be panned into the left ear. And then this one is going to be panned into the right ear. And then we want to make sure that these notes go back to normal. So we're going to select them and then put them in the middle again. And now, same with this one as well. And now it should sound like this. If you're listening on headphones or like proper speakers, you'll be able to hear this, but if you're listening through like your phone speaker or computer speaker, you probably won't be able to hear this very well. So yeah, it's going to sound like that, and then I think I'm actually going to bring this one up as well. And then bring this one up a little bit, but still go lower. So yeah, I think that sounds pretty good so far. It's a good, nice little bounce. And now the whole thing should sound like this together. And I think I'm actually going to take out a couple of these here and there, like maybe this one. And then maybe this one at the end too. And then maybe that. So let's hear how that sounds. So yeah, I think that sounds a little better. It's a little bit less busy. And now what I'm going to do is add a couple little extra little snare rolls and stuff, because there's a lot of little rolls and, you know, little extra details in UK drill music that, you know, makes it what it is. So I'm going to do this. And maybe with this one, I'll go like this actually, and put these really low. So let's hear how this sounds. So I think the velocity needs to be even lower because it's kind of too busy. So I'm just going to turn it way down. So that sounds good. And then I'm going to do maybe another one here. Maybe like that. Let's hear how that sounds. So I actually removed the open hi-hat because if I put the open hi-hat in there, it's probably going to sound a little bit too crowded. But for now, what I'm going to do is see if this stomp can fit in anywhere, and I'll go from there. Okay, so I added in the little stomp, and it sounds like this. So I think that sounds okay so far. I'll probably change it. I'll add some effects or something maybe. But for now, what I'm going to do is actually move on to the melody. And with the melody, what we're going to do is pick a sound. I think I'm going to stay with strings because strings are probably going to sound good for this. So I'm going to keep it as the violin, but I'm just going to change it to these ones. And I'm going to go in, I'm going to click harmonic minor because we want the vibe of the melody to be kind of creepy, but like not too creepy to where it's like a horror movie, just creepy enough to where it's, you know, like ominous kind of sounding. So yeah, I'm going to pick a note that I like how it sounds and then go from there. So I think I'm going to go with C harmonic minor for this one. So just do right click and then mark current scale. So I'm going to start off with a C minor chord. So go to 1 by 1. And now go last note, and now turn this back up to 100. And now I'm gonna make a couple simple little chords to fit with his drum pattern. Okay, so I've come up with this little violin melody. It's some pretty simple, you know, chords that fit into the scale. And I also added these at the bottom, and I'm gonna turn them down a little bit. And then at the end, I added this little variation here, and it sounds like this. So now that we have this, I'm actually going to pitch it up a couple because this bottom note here isn't playing because the sonatina just doesn't play that low of notes. So I'm going to pitch it up. So that sounds good. Now what I'm going to do is copy it over. So do Control A, Shift. And now I'm just going to add a couple little variations up here on this side so that it doesn't get too repetitive and so that it stays nice and fresh. Alright, so I added a couple of notes here at the end of these 4 bars, and the whole thing should sound like this now. And I think I'm going to add like a lot of reverb and stuff onto this to make it a little bit more ominous. But now what I'm going to do is go into creepy piano and do another little kind of counter melody, or maybe I'll just do the same thing, who knows, but I'm going to do something that goes with this. But before I do that, I'm going to take note of what scale this is now in, which is D sharp minor, or D sharp harmonic minor. So we're going to go in here, and I think this stays marked, and yes, it is the same. So I'm going to mess around here with this creepy piano and see what actually sounds good, and then I will be back. Okay, so basically what I did with the creepy piano is I just went copy and then pasted it into here, and then I went into the piano roll and I changed just a couple different notes. So I added these notes here and then these ones here, and then I changed this little roll, added these ones up here just to give it like a different bounce from the strings. So now that and the strings sound like this together. So yeah, I think that sounds pretty good. It's ominous enough to where, you know, it doesn't sound too scary or horror movie sounding. So I think I did a good job there. So what I'm going to do now is just copy the bass notes by doing Control C, and this is the same for both of these 4 bars, so I don't need to copy all the way. And I'm going to go into the 808 now and do Control V. So now I have this, and this should be in, you know, the right area. But before we use the 808, we need to go here, go to the mount, turn the attack up just a little bit, and then go here, and now it should be usable. And now the last thing I'm going to do is go into the piano roll and do Control C because all these are already selected, and now do Control V inside of here. So now I know where to place these 808s because of the kick pattern. So now what I'm going to do is line up these 808s with where the kicks are, and I'll be back. Alright, so I just lined all these up, and now I'm going to delete this. One thing that I have noticed is that this is a lot of kicks, so what we're going to do is stagger the 808. So the 808 is not going to hit on every kick, so we're just going to do something like this, and then maybe something like this again. And then we can change other ones as we need, but for now this should be good. And for this 808 pattern, I'm going to be a little bit fancier because a lot of these UK drill beats have like really crazy hi-hat patterns or 808 slides or something, so I'm going to try to replicate that as best as I can. Okay, so I just added this little kind of 808 roll, and I might get rid of this because it might be kind of too much with all the other drums, but for now I have it like this. And the way I did that was going over to 24 and just making a little roll. And I'm going to switch it back now because the next thing I'm going to do is something that a lot of you have been asking me about, and I'm about to show you how to do it right now. So a lot of you have been asking me about 808 slides and how you do them. I'm going to show you right now. So you go to this little automation thing, and then you click on whichever note you want. Basically, if I click here, it shows a little line on the screen. So what this does is basically slides your note. So if you go to 12, that's basically a whole octave. So my note will slide a whole octave, as you can hear. So if you wanted to slide, you know, a half octave, so basically this note will be sliding from here to a C note. So you want to keep that in mind, what note you are actually sliding to, and if it's still in the key of your song. So as you can see, this wouldn't be in the key. We'd have to do it like this instead. But yeah, I am just going to do 12 for this one. And then also the length that this is adjusts how fast or slow the slide is going to be. So if I have it like this, the slide is going to be very slow, as you can hear. But you want these slides to kind of be pretty fast. So I'm going to change this to actually 1/16 and then go like this. And now I'm going to change this back to here and do this. And I'm going to slide this last note as well. But for this last note, I'm going to slide it like halfway through. So I'm going to go like this and then up like this. So we're going to find the middle here like this and then do that up 12. So now everything with the 808 slide should sound like this. So yeah, not too bad sounding, and it kind of gets those UK 808 sounds that you are going for. So yeah, let's listen to the whole thing, how it sounds together, and it might be too chaotic, so we might need to change some of the 808s, but for now, this is how it sounds. So So yeah, I think that sounds good, except for maybe this, which I predicted this might be too much. So I'm just going to go like this and see how it sounds from here. So yeah, I think this is actually sounding really good so far. The only other thing that we really have left to do is put some effects on this and then separate these all into their own beat and bassline editors, lay out the beat, and then we'll be done. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is EQ this creepy piano. So what I did, instead of adding them all to a mixer track, is I'm just going to go in here and then do the effects chain. So all you have to do is turn this on and then do add effect, and I added an equalizer, and now I'm going to try to EQ out some of the low end. Okay, so now we have that, and I'm going to add some reverb now onto this. So basically the reverb looks like this. Now I'm going to move this up, and the whole thing sounds like this. So yeah, it gives it a little bit of a different vibe. Now I'm going to go into the sonatina, and I know for this one I want to EQ out the high end so that it gets more, mysterious sounding. So basically the EQ looks like this. It's just a little shelf EQ, and it's going to sound like this now. And now there's two more things I want to add to the Sonatina Orchestra. I want to add reverb, and I want to add some stereoization. So basically I just made the room size a lot bigger, turned up the dry, turned up the decay a little bit, and other than that it's pretty much the same. I moved it up as well, and now I'm going to add that stereo I was speaking of. So I like to use the stereo matrix, and I'm going to put this all the way up as well. So I put both of these to about 75, and I think that's good now. And one more thing I want to do is EQ out a little bit more of this high end. So now that we have this, we're pretty much done. The last thing I'm going to do is separate these all into their own beat and bass line, and then we'll lay it out and we'll be good. I separated all these into their own beat and bassline editor, renamed them and stuff, and now I'm just about to lay out the beat. But as you can see, it's not a very complicated beat, sounds-wise, we don't have that many sounds, but it's all about how you use your sound, because with these UK drill beats, you want to pay very close attention to how you use your drums in order to create a good bounce. So as you can see, I spent a lot of time on each and every drum, making sure that they fit well together and bounce properly, and have the right kind of tempo and rhythm to them. So yeah, I'm going to switch over to this select thing, copy this over. Now we're going to put this over here, and I'm going to start off with the piano in the beginning, and then we're going to add the strings as well, and I'm going to do the hi-hat, and then I'm going to do this. And then also this. And I'm going to turn this up a little bit. And the last thing I forgot to do was add some effects to this. So I'm going to go in right now and just add a little bit of reverb to it. Alright, so I added some reverb to this little stomp effect. And now it should be nice and reverby. And it's going to fade in, and all the drums are going to drop here. And now we're going to copy this over like this. And now we're actually going to get rid of these strings. So delete them. And I'm going to get rid of the stomp as well. And maybe actually get rid of the 808 for a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to do it like that. It adds a little bit of a break, and then I'm going to copy it over just like this. And maybe for this one, I'm going to do just the strings like this. And as usual, this is all totally up to you. You can make this layout or anything else that I did in this beat however you want it to be. As long as it just sounds good to you, that's what matters. But yeah, I want to copy this over. I'm going to add this here. One thing I'm just realizing right now that I did was I made the snares the little hesitation effect instead of the hi-hats. So I'm going to go in and fix that right now and add them for all of the ends here. So yeah, that's pretty much this whole beat done. I worked pretty hard on this one actually, and I'm pretty satisfied with the way that it came out, considering this is not like my #1 genre of music to make or anything. But I'm pretty satisfied with the results, and I think it turned out to be a pretty hard beat. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. I hope this video was able to help you out. I hope you learned something from it. And if you wish to, you should go check out my Instagram and my SoundCloud, which will both be in the description below, with the songs I produce. You know the drill. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.
Ayy, looking for myself in all these drugs, I'm making bad decisions. Hard on the shelf, yeah, I'm against it, but I still got feelings. Had to watch my step, my slime could have been safe next, trying to catch me slipping. I don't want no help, stay in my own lane, I'ma mind my business. Looking for myself in all these drugs, I'm making bad decisions. Hard on the shelf.